Good evening, ladies and gentlemen on YouTube. So today I'm going to talk about Central Vietnam. I'm doing 3 parts of my trip to Vietnam. I'm breaking it down and doing some videos about it. So the first part was about South Vietnam. And South Vietnam is crazy. I rented a scooter. Like, you only go to South Vietnam one time, in my opinion, and if you have to transit to Saigon or Ho Chi Minh. You know, it's good to land there and be logistic and check out some things. But in my opinion, I think that the lot was overhyped, and all the places beside like a few hidden gems, like I talked about, Con Dao is really cool. I recommend that if you have time to check it out. And there's also another one, I'm probably mispronouncing it. It's near the lot on the coast. It's called Tu Hoi. That one's really cool. I didn't talk about it in my video, but it's a really cool place. It's like Da Nang, except very local. But now we're going to talk about Central Vietnam. Central Vietnam is where you want to live. I'm gonna talk about some of the cities I went to. So right now, Da Nang is really overhyped. Yeah, Da Nang is cool, but there's other cool hidden gems. So in Da Nang, you have Hoi An that's close to it, about 30 minutes to the downtown area, and then you have Hoi. I think it's called Hoi. It's really cool. It's like used to be the capital of Vietnam. It's right in the middle of the country. It has a lot of Chinese culture, some Chinese culture or Vietnamese culture infused with it, you know? So it's really cool to learn about the history of the Vietnamese. And then above that, you have Dong Hoi, that's really cool. And then Phong Nong. Phong Nong is where the biggest cave is in the world. And I got to hike a little bit of it with my partner, so that was really awesome. And it's quite expensive if you do the 1-year thing. If you have to wait 1 year to hike the cave. It's like about, I think 2 days or 3 days, don't quote me on it. It's about $3,000. So it could be more, and you have a 1-year waiting list. But I did like the package for about 300. So I got to go do the cave for a day and spend the night in like a 5-star hotel, and it was really cool. One in a lifetime experience. Highly recommend it. Really awesome. So those were like the places I checked out in Central Vietnam. Hoi An is cool. It's famous for the boats that it's like kind of like Vietnam's Venice. So they have like these boats on there that are really cool. I don't know, when I went there, it was cool to go in the daytime. I got a suit done there. It was like 200 USD. They did a whole suit for me, the pants and the top. And it was like sent to me on a scooter because I was staying in Da Nang. So you can stay in Da Nang and go to Hoi An. That's what I recommend. Or go to Hoi is a little far from Da Nang. It's about 2 hours. But if you drive a motorcycle or a scooter, the view is beautiful. Just make sure the scooter is like enough horsepower, because that area is really cool. And we checked out that area. And at the time, we didn't check out Hoi, but I've been there before because we had typhoon season. So the only problem in Vietnam is the typhoons were bad. Like, I'm from Florida, and the typhoons were like every week when I was there. And in Florida, they're every month, so at least you can prepare. But it was like after week. But Da Nang was good. There wasn't much flooding where I was, so it was like good. But Hoi An and Hoi got flooded like really bad. And Dong Hoi, I was there during a typhoon, but it wasn't that bad. But Phong Nong has like this chicken that's like really good. They like cook this chicken, like whole chicken, do it like it's like one of their specialties there. I recommend you try that. And then Dong Hoi, I had lobster. It was really good. So Central Vietnam is good to live. It has, the airport in Da Nang is pretty good. You can go to Thailand direct flight. Thailand's the most famous one. Cambodia, you could fly from Da Nang and see Angkor Wat, so that's really cool. It's like quick flight, less than an hour. And then from Da Nang, you can fly to Japan, Korea, I think China, and the Philippines, I think, have direct flights when I checked last. So it's really nice. But Da Nang is really overhyped right now, and the problem with Da Nang is it's starting to get overpriced. So it used to be really cheap, but everything's like up 200 basically, you know? I mean, of course you can find stuff, but the problem is the visa for Vietnam for most Westerners is like the long-term visa is a 90-day visa, unless you get like a student visa or you get a school visa. So you could learn Vietnamese, but you have to exit the country on a tourist visa and re-enter back in the country on the student visa. So it's like way more complicated than Cambodia. And then if you teach English in, like, let's say you really love Da Nang, you teach English, you quit or you get fired, you have to leave the country and come back on a tourist visa. So it's like crazy. Vietnam's visa is very complex, way more complex than Cambodia. Cambodia is more straightforward, but everyone wants to go to Da Nang. But I recommend that if you if you're like a digital nomad, then you should check out Dong Hoi. Dong Hoi was really cool, and Phong Nhong was really cool too. There's a lot of things to do. It's really cheap there. And same in Dong Hoi. That's what's cool about Vietnam. Like in Cambodia, like the countryside area is very hard to live if you're a foreigner, but in Vietnam it's not that bad. Like, yeah, there's a language barrier, but the people want to communicate with you, and you're a foreigner, so they want to like give a good like what's the word I'm looking for, like they want to be on their best behavior basically with you. You're the first person you ever met, and so they don't see you as an ATM yet. Like sometimes when you go to an area that has a lot of tourists, they see you as an ATM, not as a person, you know? Or they've had bad experience with foreigners. But if they don't know you yet, like when I went there, I became like the whole village's English teacher. It's just funny. But yeah, like Da Nang is cool. Rent a motorcycle or scooter. But if you do rent a motorcycle and scooter, to be compliant with the law, you have to get an international driver's license. So if you're thinking about going to Vietnam abroad and you don't have an international driver's license, you need to get one because it will help you with the law. If you don't have one, you may have to pay a fine with the police, you know? So that's kind of a pain. Just get the international driver's license, no problem, you know, for a motorcycle, because getting your home country, so everything's more difficult, because now I live in Cambodia, and getting a Cambodian driver's license is way more complicated than me to get a driver's license in the US and get an international driver's license. But usually international driver's license is for 1 year, you know? So they just wave you through. And some people say that it's not technically allowed with the law and blah, blah, blah. But most of the time, as long as you're not driving drunk and you wear a helmet in Vietnam, you're not going to have a problem. But that's the thing, like a lot of foreigners are coming into Da Nang and they're rising up the prices. So that's a con in Da Nang. But Da Nang is cool. It's like the Miami of Vietnam. I mean, there's a lot of context about it, but I'm going to explore more about Hoi. Hoi is really cool. It's like, you go into a town similar to like Chiang Mai or Siem Reap. So it's a very like, it used to be the capital of Vietnam, so it has a lot of Chinese like architecture and the history and the king and all that, and it's really cool. It's really underrated. It's not hyped right now, and Hoi An is hyped in the tourist area, but if you get out of the tourist area, it's really cool. And then that drive from Da Nang to Hoi is beautiful. But we didn't get to go to the city. We went to the jungle. So it was cool, but at the time, like, we couldn't enter the city because it was really flooded. But like that area, that drive is beautiful. One of the most beautiful drives I think I've ever been on, you know? I haven't been on the Hang Long Loop, I think it's called, because it's very like touristy. And yeah, so, but I checked out this spot and it was really cool, and I recommend that you do it. But the problem is Da Nang, they're also starting to build and it's becoming over commercialized. So that's like a problem too, you know? So I recommend you drive a motorcycle, you check out these cities like Dong Hoi, Phong Nhong, and see if you like them. Like if you're a digital nomad, you can go live in these cities like Dong Hoi for 3 months and then rotate to a new city like Chiang Mai. That's what like I do, because eventually like in Asia, you get bored of the country. So it's good to be like a nomad to a certain extent, you know? But depending on your financial or your money status, you have to do what you can. But you know, if you're a digital nomad or you have passive income coming in, then you should check out the cities like Tu Hoi in South Vietnam. Really awesome. Like Da Nang, very like, it's like Nong Tang, except like not hype. There's a lot of really cool cities to see in Vietnam that are not on the map. The reason I went to Dong Hoi is to get to Phong Nhong, and it was awesome. It's one of my favorite spots in the trip. I had really good lobster. But I went to Da Nang because it was easier to do visa runs if I had to, because people recommend that you go to Laos. But the problem is that they're gonna start getting more strict. So I recommend that people fly out of the country. You can do like cheap airline like AirAsia and fly from like Da Nang to Bangkok. So originally I was staying in Hanoi, but I'll get onto that video in part 3. This is part 2. So we basically started our base in Hanoi and then moved to Da Nang because I tried to get my partner to get a job there, but the issue was that she didn't know Vietnamese, and Da Nang, everything was starting to rise in price. And it's like cool for like a 1 month stay, you know, but there's other cool places in Vietnam. But the other reason is in Vietnam is the issue is like why I didn't stay there long term is just the traffic is really crazy. Every day you come out, it's like a video game. Like Cambodia is only bad in the capital, you know? and soon I'm rotating to the Philippines. So my plan is to basically make my money in a cheap country, and I reinvest in the stock market, and then I get like a teaching job or a diving job to pay rent and to pay for my groceries, you know. So I originally went to Vietnam to teach English, and it was I get on about it. It was a good experience, but it wasn't a good experience. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. But I'll talk about northern Vietnam. So basically we started in Saigon. We started in Phucan, went all the way up to Hanoi, actually to Sapa, then Hanoi, and then back to Da Nang, you know? But it was just typhoon after typhoon after typhoon after typhoon and flooding, and it was just like, okay, this is a little crazier than Florida. Like, the price is nice, but everything's starting to rise up, you know? At least in Hanoi, it's still Hanoi price. It's not rising up yet. But Da Nang, like central Vietnam, is starting to become more expensive unless you go to the countryside area. But I'm going to talk about part 3, about the rest of the journey of Vietnam, basically. But yeah, the goal of this channel is I'm basically trying to save up to $1 million, travel the world, and slow travel. So slow traveling is the way to go. But yeah, thank you if you listen this long. Yeah, but this is kind of my experience. Okay, see ya.